Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've been wanting to make a Halo video for quite some time, even way back prior to me having this channel. Halo's been one of my favorite gaming franchises for a long time, and it's been sad to see how it has changed so much over the last couple of years, especially after Halo 3 when Bungie moved on from the franchise. And I know I am one of the top generals in the nostalgic army, but I really want to talk about what has been happening to Halo of late, especially with Halo Infinite. So essentially this video will be split into two parts. First off, I want to talk about 343's Halo story over Halo 4, 5, and Infinite, and then the second half of this video will be focusing on Infinite's multiplayer. So 343 Industries started off strong with their first Halo game, which was Halo 4. I'm sure it was tough to carry on the story of Halo, especially after the events of Halo 3. You can argue Halo could have potentially ended right then and there. It had the perfect conclusion, but honestly, we all hate to see things die off today, and who really wanted to see Halo be finished back in 2007? The campaign was pretty solid, and we got the band back together essentially in 4, Master Chief and Cortana. We also got to fight a new enemy, the Prometheans and the Didact. The story was an emotional one as Cortana is dealing with rampancy. We go through a journey learning about the Prometheans, and Master Chief struggled to get Cortana some help. We learned more about the Forerunners as we went on this journey. I can't say it all made sense to me with the way they did the storytelling, but I appreciated the attempt to build more lore in this story and kind of move past the usual, oh, it's the Covenant versus the humans fighting on Earth and throughout space. And then you have the biggest moment of Halo 4, which came at the end when Cortana sacrificed herself to save Master Chief. It truly was a great send-off for Cortana, and it really left all of us Halo fans with some emotional damage at the end of that game. However, then when you get into Halo 5, things got weird. Many people disliked the fact that you spent half the campaign playing as another Spartan, Jameson Locke. He, along with his squad, were supposed to apprehend the Master Chief, and it was cool to see Master Chief and his squad of Spartans face off against Locke and his squad. So ultimately, it was really nice to see other Spartans outside of Halo Reach for a change. And we also get Lasky, the Arbiter, Halsey. So this cast of characters is great. However, the return of Cortana did not feel great. We are chasing after her as she is back as a villain. The other villain in the game is the Warden Eternal. This guy is not really interesting to listen to or even to fight in this game, and it's tough to listen to him build story or hear Cortana speak to you or whoever speaks to you because you're fighting the Warden multiple times, and he usually has a bunch of little cannon fodder troops helping him as well. So when you're trying to tell the story through this in-game commentary, it's very difficult to hear these important plot points when you're literally in the fight for your life. You're not focused on that. But we do find out that Cortana's rampancy was cured by Forerunner technology, and that she has teamed up with the Guardians, which is basically the Forerunner army, to help unify the galaxy. And again, this stuff is explained, but in a quick manner, which basically just tells me Cortana is now bad. Master Chief tries to bring her back, but fails. Bringing Cortana back, in my opinion, defeats the whole ending and purpose of Halo 4. If 343 really wanted to take the story of Halo in a new direction, then killing off Cortana should have stayed that way. Of course, they also could have just kept Cortana to begin with and let that duo go on a new adventure in a new direction and create new enemies and a story and a setting and new characters that they come across. But for whatever reason, they thought they should take her away and then bring her back. It was very odd. The decision to bring her back honestly reminds me of Disney bringing back Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker. So now let's look at Halo Infinite, the long-awaited next-gen Halo game. Infinite continued off of the story of 4 and 5, but in new ways. The majority of the campaign was set in a semi-open world environment on the Zeta Halo ring. This was the first time Halo went open world. Master Chief was also given some new equipment to use while getting around, like the grapple shot, which was my favorite piece of equipment to use. I didn't think the open world was bad, but it could have been a lot better. It was neat to be able to stock up on guns and ammo at one of the forward operating bases, and then grab a Warthog full of Marines and head to the next main mission, or some of the classic open world side missions where you could eliminate high value targets or capture enemy bases. However, the world felt empty. No animal life, no other signs of people, just good guy bases and enemy bases, and of course, enemies scattered throughout the map. And there was a lack of other main characters too. No Lasky, no Locke, no Halsey. There's nobody new other than the pilot, Fernando Esparza. We do get to see and hear recordings of Atriox, the leader of the Banished, Escharum, and Cortana, and of course you do have the AI who is known as the Weapon, who basically looks and acts like Cortana. And, getting back to those recordings I'm talking about from all these so-called main characters, which they were main characters and important characters in the story, but I just felt like I was playing the game and like watching a side TV show, if I'm being honest with you, because all you see and hear are these recordings. You never actually talk to these people. I guess the way it went is that 6 months prior to in-game time is when all this stuff happened, this big battle and everything that happened on the ring and Cortana and the Banished with Atriox and all this stuff happened months before. So instead of giving you a couple nice flashbacks or just a cutscene to really explain where you're at in the game in the beginning to get it over with, no, they just feed you these recorded clips throughout the entire game, and it really felt disjointed to me, if I'm being quite honest with you. And you have to remember this too, a game with a quiet open world and a quiet protagonist needs something to keep the energy up, something to keep people entertained and locked in. I did just mention your AI companion in this game, the Weapon. I did like her. I did enjoy her personality and the fact that she was this sweet little innocent weapon who didn't even know how powerful she was and what she was meant to do. But again, where is Lasky? Where's the Arbiter? Where's Locke? Where's Buck? Where are any of these characters? You can't have them in the game and serve some kind of purpose? Or how about a new version of Sergeant Johnson? We're stuck with Marines on this base. Why can't there be that one go-to guy that helps you on some missions that's just memorable with his personality and with some quotes? Where is that stuff at? So then in the final few missions, the game does take you back to classic Halo. You're playing through designed levels and the story has more of a focus near the end. And to make a long story short, you defeat Escharum and you save the day again as Master Chief. And then you also see at the end that Cortana realized the mistake she made and she eventually turned good again. She detonated part of the ring, killing herself and Atriox. So they brought back Cortana to vilify her in Halo 5 just to show her off as a recording from the past in the next game and then finally kill her off screen in Infinite. I just don't get why they did this tug-of-war thing with her, especially after that perfect send-off in Halo 4. Did they not have ideas? Were they really stumped? And I laugh when, you get these new generations of people coming to a franchise, whether it's developers or fans, and they want something new. They don't care about what happened 15 years ago. Okay, that's fine, but then where was the creativity with the story? The same characters, the same enemies, things like that. Why did you even bring Cortana back after she died? It's Cortana in this story throughout the trilogy of games that 343 has made so far is really my biggest gripe, my biggest complaint. And again, when you're telling the story through holographic clips that were recorded, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't really interest me. And let me just say, I played this campaign over a year ago, so I researched some articles prior to recording this video so I could get a refresher on the campaigns. And one article did tell me the entire summary of Cortana in the games. Actually, a really good article. But why did the article make Cortana's story much more clear than the game? That's a problem. You can time jump and skip around all you like, I don't have a problem with that, but you have to make sure the story makes sense, and you have to explain big plot points like, hey, Cortana's back, or hey, Cortana did this thing. It just didn't feel special when you tell me at the end of the game, hey, she actually died and turned good again. Okay, I'm glad she ended on a good note as a hero, but there's nothing fulfilling about watching her at the end. So again, I want to give 343 some credit though, because they did make some drastic changes like making most of the campaign an open world. Again, I didn't think it was bad, but in some points I thought it was underwhelming. Now my biggest problem lies with Halo Infinite's multiplayer. Halo Infinite, I think, unfortunately became another casualty of the live service model. Halo multiplayer released in November of 2021. It was a huge surprise and people loved it at first. And I will praise 343 for a couple of things with their battle passes. One, they are just $10, so it's not super expensive to get. And there's, of course, plenty of content. You got 100 levels to unlock as you play through it. The second thing I like is the fact that the battle passes technically never go away. So if you don't finish the pass by the end of the season, no worries, because you can continue to unlock stuff after there as long as you purchased it. So I really do appreciate that, because many games don't do that. Many games it's like, okay, you got the 50 or 60 days and then when the next battle pass comes out, that's it. You can't ever get that stuff again. So kudos to them for that. I would say it was actually pretty shocking if you didn't complete the first battle pass though, back when the game first came out, because season 1, the Heroes of Reach, lasted 6 months. It started November 15th of 2021 and ended on May 3rd, 2022. The game has been out for over a year now, and we've technically had 2 official seasons and a winter update, which is what they're in right now. The winter update is cool, kudos where kudos is due, for the fact that in this winter update, it's basically a free 30 level battle pass. It features the usual armor, visors, emblems, colors, things like that. But even in this winter update, it's going to stick around for an absurd amount of time. It started back on November 8th of last year, and it's going to end on March 7th. Hardcore Halo fans probably got all the items unlocked within the first month. And it's not that I want to be overly critical on stuff like this, but the gaming industry has turned us gamers into crazed consumers that expect new content every couple of weeks. And I would like to see more content that just isn't cosmetics in this game. I'd like to see more weapons, vehicles, maps. It amazes me how a franchise like Halo struggles to come out with that type of content. And it's not like I'm asking for a dozen new guns, 10 brand new maps, and another dozen vehicles that they have to think of and create from scratch. You know, it would be nice to see a couple new weapons, a couple new guns and vehicles, things we haven't seen before. But also, you can give me some content from previous games. Halo's been a franchise for over 20 years. We have 6 main games. We have, trying to think off the top of my head, a couple Halo Wars games. You know, you have a whole plethora of games and content. You know, if Call of Duty could sprinkle in some old guns or old characters or old maps in their games today from games that came out 10 years ago or so, why can't Halo do that? You have a lot of old school fans, and I think even new fans would just relish in the fact that they can play some new content. You show the older fans that you appreciate them and give them the hint of nostalgia, but the new fans could maybe play on some Halo 3 maps to be like, oh wow, they had it good back then on this map. This is really fun. If I was a kid back then playing this, I would have loved this game. And come on, don't tell me people wouldn't love to see the Spartan laser again or the SMG from Halos 2 and 3. You can sprinkle in some old and familiar content in between the new content drops. To me, that makes the most sense to keep people happy in a live service model. And here's another thing that blows my mind too. We not only had a new Halo game in 2022, but we also got a live action show on Paramount. Now the show was bad, however, but this should have given 343 an opportunity to connect the game to the show with some new content. Back in the game's Season 2, they did drop 6 show-related items, and here they are. Emblems and weapon charms. No armor, no characters, no maps, nothing inspired from the show other than emblems and charms. All cosmetic crap that really means nothing. Now I do think 343 handled content properly in the Master Chief Collection, and I would have figured they would have drew inspiration from that game into this game. They do have themed content seasons over there as well. And seriously, go check out the amount of content you can unlock over there. There's a bunch of challenges you can do to complete in both multiplayer and in the campaigns. And instead of charging money constantly for new passes, you can earn currency in the game to unlock those items. Yes, a lot of stuff is cosmetics there too, but I'm not gonna lie, that stuff is cool and it just enhances the look and style of those games with a little bit of a modern twist that I think works. Also, one of my favorite things is the fact that you can unlock character voices to use in Firefight. Like, come on, who wouldn't want to use Sergeant Johnson's voice? That's some cool stuff right there. And then when it comes to Halo Infinite, instead of taking some of the ideas and inspiration from the Master Chief Collection, the developers decide to implement goofy AI that talks to you in-game and cool new content for them by getting new colors and even more random goofy sounding voices. And they also want to sell you cartoon weapon charms and other childish stuff. It doesn't feel like a badass war game anymore. There's no serious tone to it. The story and the characters have always come off in a serious way, and this is why the franchise was always respected. And now it's just silly and filled with gimmicks for the sake of live service. And sadly for me, it's just too late for me to get into playing Halo Infinite consistently. Yes, a year later we have a nice amount of modes and maps, but new games have come out since then, and I have been more interested in Modern Warfare 2, honestly. And I'm still playing my usual Rocket League and the occasional Fortnite because, well, they consistently come out with new seasons and content all the time. And it is truly a shame because the one thing I always loved about Infinite was the gameplay. Even when it first came out, the game felt great. Yeah, a few patches and tweaks to the guns had to happen early on, but that's fine. I mean, that's what you gotta accept from any game nowadays. I was never mad at the guns or the overall feeling of the game. I was mad that I had to replay the same 5 maps for months and a few game modes as well. When I revisited the game recently, I was happy to experience that gameplay again and play on some other maps and some other modes. However, I honestly really just don't care to hop on this game daily or even weekly at this point, especially now that we're getting more and more games every couple of months, and it seems like the gaming industry is totally back on its feet from the days of COVID and all the delays and the backups and all the issues back a couple of years ago. Halo really is a shell of its former self, and Microsoft needs to be more involved as it is the biggest and most important franchise for Xbox. You know, Microsoft today focuses so much on Game Pass and all these other companies that it's adding to the fold, and that's fine, I get it, the business needs to keep growing and making money. But Halo should not be falling out of grace like it has. Halo shouldn't just be on the top of the leaderboards for how big it is or for how old the franchise is. It should be on top because of how successful it is. And it has been trending downward for the past 2 games now. So those are my thoughts on Halo. Let me know what you guys think down below. Please give this video a like and subscribe if you will. I appreciate any support you can give. And you can also follow me on Twitter and TikTok at analyzethis_YT. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you on the next video.